Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to the Urban RVers. I'm Monica.
And I'm Paul.
We are so excited that you've joined us. We have a very interesting episode today. You ever wonder why people say yes to RVs? What's the reason they want to buy an RV? We're going to delve right into that, right, Paul?
We will. And we're going to look back on our massive, almost 3 years of experience RVing, which makes us the ultimate experts. And of course, I am tongue in cheeking it.
Yes, you are. Stop that. We're going to talk about why we purchased an RV, but we'll also give the latest information on why so many in 2022 said yes. So, the latest information that's being released now in 2023 about why people are buying RVs.
But why did we buy an RV?
I never thought we would. I'll be honest, everyone. And I don't think our reason made the survey as to why most people buy RVs, but we live in South Louisiana in the New Orleans area. And that means we are prone to hurricanes. We have the Atlantic hurricane season, which kicks off June 1st of every
Yes.
year and will roll all the way through the end of November. So we always have the dilemma. If there's something that could impact us, could affect our area, do we stay? Do we go? If we go, where do we go? And it can be so stressful, everybody. I don't know if you've experienced that, but if you are in that cone of probability, the whole mood of the city and the area starts to change because you don't know what you should do. What's the wisest thing to do that doesn't put you in any harm or your family or even those who have to respond to emergency situations?
Yeah, the mood as it gets closer, especially if it's going to be a 3+ storm. The closer it gets to category 5, it's more like panic.
Absolutely. And sometimes when you decide to wait to make a decision, you are impacted by travel, what's available. Do you get a hotel? How far north or east do you go, depending on that cone of probability? So it can be very, very stressful. So we wanted to have an option. Like, what could we do or what could we buy that would give us some options as to if we waited until kind of the last minute, we could still have a place to be.
Yeah, because normally for us, what would happen as a storm would approach, we have to figure out where it's going, where to go based on where it's going, and then booking hotel rooms further up north or east or west, and booking them and not getting them canceled because it went somewhere else. So now we got to go somewhere else, and you lose money on cancellation fees. So just an ordeal.
Right. So we figured let's explore getting an RV. And again, I never saw myself or Paul and I in RVs or being RVers. I had a certain perception of who said yes to an RV, who had one. But we said, you know what? We can't keep living like this. Let's explore our options. So we said, okay, let's look into getting an RV.
And let's look at some stats on what other people are doing when they're considering an RV purchase, and we'll mix that in with our decision making process. So why do people buy their RV?
And this is based on RVIA, which is RVer Industry Association. They commissioned a study. They looked at the buying habits or the reasons why they said yes of 600 people in the sample.
Yeah.
And here's what came up with. Number 39%, they wanted a place not only to be, but a place that they could stay while they were working. And that's important to us as our urban RVers because we want to continue our jobs, continue teaching, or whatever the situation is. So that is a number one reason in 2022 why 39% of those who bought RVs said yes.
And they also said that they wanted to do road trips. They wanted to have a base camp for when they did recreation. What's interesting, the numbers, obviously they could choose more than one thing. So it was pretty much split across the board. Road trips, travel in comfort, even doing some boondocking. But for us, and want to get back to our decision making process, for the most part, RVs weren't really on our radar. But looking back on it, probably about a year before we actually bought our RV, I guess they were getting to be in the back of my mind. I was noticing them on the road. I started figuring out that there were differences between, especially motorhome types, Class A, Class C, Class B. So I guess I started thinking about it before I realized why I was thinking about it. And then one of the things I think we didn't see in this survey, and I'm always curious about, well, how long do you research to buy that RV? And for us, it was about a 1 month intensive research period, which is really short.
It is, but keep in mind it's 2020, and not only is there the COVID shutdown, but it's also hurricane season. So in the back of our minds is what can we do? We're already in hurricane season, and we're coming to the peak of hurricane season, which is around what? End of July, August, really, till about mid-September. So it was time to make a decision. And my attitude was, again, it wasn't on my radar. I had a perception or a misconception of who had it. And then I started saying, oh, we're looking for an RV. And people got excited. Oh, I've always wanted to have an RV. Oh, yeah, we have an RV. We tailgate. I'm thinking, okay, not that you entered into my decision making process, but I was overwhelmed by the positive reactions that people had.
So that brings up the question, because we were kind of surprised at how many people we heard about who were RVing. Who are these RV people?
All right, let's find out who these RV people are. So you're going to find that there's a lot of diversity. Again, you have this conception or misconception that it's a much older group, a certain demographic. But what they find in this survey, remember, this is RVIA survey of 600 applicants that they talk to. Ethnicity, you break it down, 64% white, African American, 14%, 10% Hispanic Latino, 9% Asian, 3% other. Generations. On a previous episode, we broke this down as well, that they're skewing much younger than they have in the past. So when you look at the generation, the breakdown, 65% millennials, 19% Gen Z, 14% Gen X, 3% boomers who bought first time RVs. So keep that in mind as well. 70% married, 30% unmarried. A lot of people who are soloing it, whether they're doing it for their work, having a place to go, or just want to do leisure travel by themselves. And the median age,
The most surprising thing to
yes,
me.
this is the first time now, they'd never bought one before, of the survey, 32 years of age was the median age.
Yeah, because I think the perception out there is that it's a lot of retired people RVing. And that could be the case with RVers who are full time in it. I think that if you did a survey of full timers, the median age is probably a lot higher than 32.
Right. And even with the full timers, it's not as many people as you think. It's 1.5% of RV owners who are actually doing this full time. And then we also talked about the median age, but also the median household income of $80,000, almost $81,000.
So we were motivated by our need to have basically an evacuation, home away from home. And so that's not all we do, obviously. So where are we going in our RV? What are we doing?
What are we doing? And it's mostly I'm following Paul, literally and figuratively. Following Paul, and we're exploring. Now, we're not going cross country. We're basically within a driving distance where we don't spend too many nights getting there. And we're just seeing a lot of state parks and state campgrounds. And again, when my mom was ill, the blessing too was that we were able to be in the area, have the RV. I could work from the RV. I could work from home when my mom's home until she was sick, and it just gives you options, I believe.
Yeah, it gave us an office away from home, a home away from home, and I think it may track what we're doing with the stats that they found.
Yeah, where are people going? Where you going, RVers? Well, some ideal campsites. 30% say they love the private campgrounds. 27% state and local parks. That would be us.
Hmm.
RV resorts, 18%, kind of us a little
Yeah,
bit
yeah,
there. And national parks, which we haven't gone to yet, 11%.
yeah. And the big reason we haven't gone to any national parks, there aren't any national parks close to Louisiana. So
Yes.
we'd have to make a big trip to go visit a national park.
Now remember, we said we live in Southeast Louisiana. That's New Orleans area. So we've been to Mississippi, we've been to Texas, mostly the Houston area. We've been to North Louisiana. We haven't gone to Arkansas yet. I think that's on the list coming up
Oh yeah,
soon.
yeah. Alabama too. Some places I want to see there.
Maybe Georgia,
Yes.
and see how that goes. And I'm still of the mindset that I've slowed my pace down a bit, but I like to get there. I like to get where I'm going. A little bit different. And they also said that 70% of those surveyed have taken more than 6 trips in their RV. Done more than six.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's been 3 years for
Yeah.
us. And travel with 3 or more companions, 70% did that.
Yeah. Well, the big thing for us, especially, we evacuated for Hurricane Ida, and it actually hit our area pretty hard, and we had home damage. So not only did we use the RV to evacuate, but because a lot of the house was not livable, we had like the room that we're in now. We're at home. This room was. This
The
is the
kitchen.
kitchen,
Yeah.
and we couldn't cook. The stove was gone, the dishwasher,
Yeah.
everything.
We
The
had
sink.
mold. We
Yeah.
had the black mold. We had all sorts of things happening with the house. We were not the only ones, of course. But again, we did have the option of the RV. So we did a few things. Number one, we found a place that we could within an hour or so we could work and come back and forth. Sometimes you parked it
In the
right there in the
driveway.
driveway.
Yeah. We have a 30 amp hookup in our driveway, so we're able to use that. But when the contractors really got going and needed the space, we couldn't be in the driveway.
That's right. Yeah. It's more than a notion, as they say. But again, I feel very blessed that we have it.
Yes.
And again, I would not have said yes 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but 3 years ago, it was right to do it. We don't regret it. I'm learning a little bit more each and every time with Paul. You're the one who does all the research for the most part. And we made the decision. What do we want? Do we want to? I didn't even know all the different classifications. I thought an RV was an RV was an RV.
You didn't know a Class C from a Class A? I can't
I
believe
knew
it.
what they looked like. I did not know what they called them. There's a difference, right?
Yeah. And of course, there's when we bought it, one of everybody's big consideration is how much they cost. So I would love to have a Class A, but
Oh, who wouldn't?
but we can't afford it. And you always say they're kind of big.
They're huge. Who's driving that? Who's driving those big old tour buses? Remind me of big tour buses, but they're spacious. They're beautiful. We go like, oh, but I don't know if that's not only in my budget, but in our life of driving them around as urban RVers. Okay.
All right. So that's our experience.
Yes, and I hope that you've enjoyed some of the latest information surveys. They surveyed folks from 2022. They released it in the spring of this year. Some of the results, very interesting, still are skewing younger, different reasons for them saying yes. Again, this is new, first time RV buyers, and very interesting statistics on why they're saying it. What's going to be interesting, Paul, is to find out how long they hang with it, how long they keep it. Do they sell it? Do they rent it? Do they just give it up? Do they do more open road types of things, or do they do full timing? So I can't wait for the next survey
Yes,
from
because
RVIA.
because one of the assumptions has been, because a lot of the recent RV purchases were due to the pandemic. After the pandemic went away, where these people either stopped being interested, didn't have the time because they were back to their full-time jobs where they had to go to it, or some people may say, well, RVing is just not for me.
Right. It's just not for me. So we're going to see that, it's cooled a little bit as far as the frenzy of purchasing. People are looking at them. They still like the flexibility, even the cost, even though it can be a big purchase, but you're not spending $150 a night usually at an RV place because the prices are much lower. So yeah, I don't know. I think eventually it's going to settle down. You'll see it more in the middle that people, particularly if they want to use it as a place to be and a place to work, they'll continue to purchase, as a first timer doing that as well. So I think we will see. And we will, of course, on the show, bring you some of that latest information. So like I said, this is still hurricane season 2023. We have the RV. There's been nothing in the Gulf yet. Knocking
You're
on Paul's head.
because it is wood.
No, it's not wood. It's a very nice head. So I don't know what's going to happen. We're just prayerful. We're just hoping that we don't have to go to anybody else, but that we don't have to go and evacuate because of something in the Gulf or something impacting our area where we're in that cone of probability. So we don't know. But I tell you what, if something does happen and we need to evacuate, we're going to let you know and you'll be a part of the ride. So fingers crossed.